If the lights go out, if the water ceases to flow, if the trains stop, if the sewers back up, if the roads and bridges crumble, society as we know it ends. Al Percy was one person who for decades made sure that didn't happen. Percy was the chief oiler at the North River Water Pollution Control Plant. He made sure the plant was maintained and removed pollutants from used water before being discharged into local New York City waterways. Today, he's the class representative in a lawsuit. He wants to make sure there will continue to be skilled workers capable of keeping our infrastructure functioning. Percy is leading the charge so that hard-working Americans have access to the skills necessary and, by default, the good-paying jobs.
I am proof of what is possible, but nothing is possible without the proper training and safety.
In the 1973 landmark class action lawsuit, Percy versus Brennan, Al Percy won the right for unskilled workers to receive on-the-job training while building and maintaining critical infrastructure. Despite a favorable ruling, the training never materialized. All these years later, Percy continues his fight.
Hi, I'm here with Albert Percy from Queens. So, Albert, what was the class action lawsuit about?
The class action suit really pertains to the heavy equipment operating that I tried to receive that I didn't get. Had I get the apprenticeship program and the training, I would be able to help unskilled workers to benefit for the future. Well, the judges had ruled in our favor that I should have continued. I should have really had gotten the training, but I never got the training.
So, Albert, what trades did you seek training in?
Well, my preferred choice of training I really wanted was to be a heavy equipment operator engineer with bulldozers, backhoes, front-end loaders, on the construction field. But unfortunately, nothing didn't work out for me. But I met a guy who was recommended to me, a guy called Daniel Murphy, who was involved with the operating engineers, and I seek his advice. He told me that try to get an apprenticeship training program, and then he will be able to help me if I come back. But nothing came up because you have to be in the local in order to get a job with the operating engineers in New York City. I had was to get the training and the skills to compete in order to acquire to be an operator as an operating engineer.
Where did you first get your training, and did you work alongside a skilled craftsman?
Well, I actually get all my training along a craftsman in Trinidad and Tobago with a company called Halliburton, which is the American company, and Tucker is the local company. I work alongside operators, engineers, trade personnel like welders, mechanics.
When did you arrive in New York, and what happened when you arrived?
All right, I arrived in the United States in New York on the 30th of April 1966. When I arrived here, I was to go down to the selected service to register for the draft. I went down, that was in New York, around 42nd Street at the moment. I got drafted, and I went on to Whitehall Street. They sent me a token in the mail. I went on to Whitehall Street. There was an induction center where I was sworn in. I was honorably discharged from the United States Army in 1972. I had no success, so I was doing some studies on my own, technically, and it would require mechanical and oiler. So when I had examination came out in the city for oiler position and auto mechanic, I took the examination. I passed the examination for auto service worker, and while working there, I keep studying again, and then after I took another exam to be a senior auto service worker. While studying, I had the ability to take the test for oiler also too. I passed the oiler examination, and then after when I took the examination, I get called to work in 26th Ward as an oiler. 26th Ward is a water pollution plant. I went there as an oiler, and I started doing my work.
Where did you work during your 25 years?
For the 25 work, I work a combination of with the sanitation department where I had work, in Coney Island plant, outside Pans, North River, and 26th Ward. At working at North River plant, I met a guy called Brian Matall. He was a sewage treatment worker. Upon working there, we had assignments doing our jobs. We had an alarm system that someone was in danger, and we all responded down. I ran downstairs and I realized Brian was in the influent tunnel where the water comes in with a big pump. The pump that Brian was going towards was grinder pumps. If he had gotten into that influent section, the pumps would have grind up and it would have killed him immediately. There's no turning back there. So what I did, we called for help. And I went down there and I threw a ladder and I assist him by bringing him out from drowning. The first thing he said, Percy, I don't want to die. Make sure I don't die now. And I told him, I said, you will not die. I had guys backing me up by holding my feet because it was very slippery. And I went and I pulled him up on a ladder and bring him up. And he swallowed a lot of sewer system in his body. The heart was to pump it out, and today he's still alive, looking healthy and strong, and everything is good.
Recently, at the very plant at which they worked, Al Percy met with Brian, the man he saved.
Remember, Brian, that when you fell along in the hole and thing, what were you down there? How you managed to get down in that area? Were you doing an assignment? You were doing a detail or something? What happened? How you get down there?
So then I fell. I slid right down the hole. Luckily, I kept the hose in my hand.
That's it.
Holding on to that hose. And then fell down to the bottom. You know, it was about 20-foot drop.
And sucking you, will I mean, so upon pulling there?
So you got to keep,
right in that
you want to keep
right
upstream.
Oh, yeah.
The blade,
oh, yeah.
you got to keep up the blade spinning around.
Right,
it's 10 feet round. So then I hit the bottom and I took my boots off and was able to swim to the top. But I still had the hose in my hand.
All right.
I guess subconsciously I just held that hose in my hand.
You had no time to really meter down there neither.
Then the meter was around my neck the whole time.
yeah.
I should have jettisoned it, but I wasn't thinking about it.
Right.
But then, then finally Lindy ran and got help.
Okay.
So you came and a couple other fellas, and you guys were able to hold the ladder, and you stuck it over your neck, and you was able to climb up that thing. One thing you have to remember, you saved my life.
Always, brother, always. I'm there to help you. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Al Percy lives in Queens, New York, where he is still working to ensure today's workers receive the skills training they were promised so long ago.
The training that I'm looking for is paid on-the-job training. I could have done much more if I had got the training or the apprenticeship to help me and to help other personnel on the heavy equipment. The training I want is for unskilled workers to be trained by skilled workers. The reason why I'm pursuing this is because the judge had ruled in my favor in order was to get this class 2 action, and I am proceeding it, hoping that everything will work out in our favor for unskilled workers.
Percy versus Brennan promised the training. Al Percy is delivering on the promise.
Mr. Percy, your case continues in controversy. The training that was ordered by Judge Lasker has not occurred. What should have occurred is that training under the Apprenticeship Training Act of 1937, the Fitzgerald Act, is the standard in our nation. That standard should be applied, that this case is being continued so that we are able to bring that training to the people who really are in need of the skills, so that jobs and equal employment opportunity occur not because of the color of a person's skin or their ethnicity, but because they have the skills to compete fairly for the jobs, to do them properly and with pride. And it's with that pride and a decent income that Middle America will be returned to be as strong as it was years ago.
Today we face a shortage of skilled labor. If we had received the training we were promised decades ago, people who need jobs today would have rewarded and good paying jobs. I was hoping to train these new workers for the future.